The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, I have in my hand a bill styled the Preemption of Real Property Discrimination Act. This legislation would preempt states from producing unacceptable laws related to real property transactions as they relate to persons who may have a foreign background. I'll say more about that at some other time. What's important to say is this. This legislation is legislation that would preempt the 50 states from each having their own laws related to individuals who are from other countries buying property. I'm honored to tell you that the Honorable Judy Chu is a co-lead on this legislation. It was introduced in a previous Congress, and today I plan to introduce it again. 50 states, 50 different laws. CFIUS has the authority to deal with these transactions. 50 states, 50 different laws. Would you kindly explain, sir, whether you think we should have 50 states with 50 different laws? Some may have a ceiling that's quite high. Others may have a floor. Your response, please.
Thank you, Congressman, for the question. In the CFIUS program that I have gotten the honor to lead focuses obviously on the federal CFIUS laws. Now, in implementing that program, we work very closely with state actors to ensure we understand their concerns and are able to engage accordingly.
Let me ask you this, sir, if I may. I appreciate your interacting with them, but if it's only an interaction and they are allowed to do whatever they choose, we still have 50 states with the ability to promulgate 50 different laws.
And thank you very much for that question. And I just wanted to finish up saying that I not only will be engaging with the states, but also with the chambers of commerce so they understand the federal CFIUS program. With respect to the CFIUS program that I lead, I can only execute the laws on the federal side. I have not seen your legislation, but obviously
I'll be
focused
proud
on what I can do.
I'll be proud to have you review it. But 50 states with 50 different laws is unacceptable. I think we need to preempt. CFIUS should have the authority to do this. And if we need additional laws other than what I'll be introducing along with the Honorable Judy Chu, I'll be more than pleased to look at producing the laws to do this. This would undermine CFIUS to have these 50 states engaging in this process at will. But there's something more sinister that's taking place right now. It creates xenophobia when a state like Texas produces its law and you are relying on realtors to enforce the law. There's a certain amount of xenophobia that's taking place. And people are worried about their ability to engage in a legal transaction. I'm going to give you a vignette that I have a personal relationship with. I buy property, and I was purchasing a piece of property and dealing with the typical methodology by which one makes the purchase. And at the closing, the persons who were assisting us wanted me to sign a document indicating that the seller is not a foreign national. I don't know the seller's origin. I know nothing about the seller. As a matter of fact, never met the man. It was a man. Never met him. But somehow there was an expectation that I would sign a document saying that he was not a foreign national. That's the kind of confusion that these laws can create because people are desiring to be law-abiding and make sure that they do that which is within the law. I'm a very strong believer and advocate for equality, liberty, and justice for all as we extol it in the Pledge of Allegiance. This behavior of allowing 50 different states to produce laws comparable to what we have in Texas is unacceptable. I think this bill is going to be very helpful. And finally, Mr. Chairman, thank you for giving me this second to say this. I support protecting our military installations, but I don't think we have to produce a law that will allow an American citizen to buy that land and prevent a foreign person. I want to protect us from anyone living near those sensitive sites. Doesn't matter to me where you're from. It's a sensitive site that I judge. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.